Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Stern. I'm the CEO of Connected. Welcome to Connected's first ever product thinking mixer in San Francisco. I see some partners, I see some colleagues, and some new faces in the audience. So really appreciate you all coming tonight. This is kind of a milestone for us. We've been doing business in the West Coast for a few years, but this is the first time we've ever done like a kind of thought leadership marketing type event, and a lot of work went into it, and so thank you again to the Connected team that made this happen. I wanted to take 5 minutes to provide a little bit of background on myself, on Connected, on why we're here tonight, and of course to introduce Marty. Early in my career, I was faced with a fork in the road, deciding between going into management consulting or joining a tech startup. And I just got in my MBA. I was thinking like banking, consulting, like all of us, MBAs. But ultimately, I decided to join a 10-person tech startup in Toronto called Extreme Labs. And it was a bit of a shocker for me. Extreme operated a little differently than most technology companies in Toronto. We certainly didn't have a fancy office. We didn't have our own office. And on my first day, my task was to build all of the cheap IKEA furniture for all of our interns coming later that afternoon from Waterloo University. Going home that night, I realized not only had I given up the pay and the prestige of a McKinsey, but now I was like the go-to IKEA office furniture builder at work. But it was probably one of the most important lessons for me in my career. Extreme operated differently. Everything at Extreme centered around the dev floor. Everything we did was optimized towards making the builders build better. Within a few years, this dev floor would become known in our community for helping shipping some of the most successful consumer tech products of our generation. We worked on Uber, we helped Facebook go mobile, we helped spin out Tinder, we worked on some amazing technology products. And I think the reason that happened was that our founders knew something that even today a lot of technology organizations haven't really wrapped their heads around. And this is something that Marty speaks and talks a lot about. When you truly empower great technology product teams, their impact can be exponential. And this was an idea that became addicting for me. And I decided then that it would be my calling to continue that tradition forward and try to create an environment that fostered that kind of empowerment for product teams. That was a first big lesson for me. A second big lesson for me happened a couple years into Extreme. We started working with bigger clients. We started working with banks and retailers. One day, product requirements document came across my desk, and it didn't look like your typical PRD. It was a nondescript PowerPoint. It was from our banking client, one of the biggest Canadian banks at the time, and I started to realize it was formatted the exact same way that some of those strategy firms I almost worked at built their decks. And I did some digging, and I realized that our client had hired one of those strategy firms a full year ago to define the product strategy, define the PRD, define in minute detail what we would have to build. And it was like a shocker. Why didn't they trust us to shape what this product looked like? So I started flipping through the PowerPoint, and I quickly learned two things. One, this product couldn't be built. Two, it shouldn't be built. And then for the next 3 years, this pattern happened over and over again with the larger and larger organizations that we worked with. And not to be too dramatic about it, but it became like infuriating seeing this happen. I didn't have the ability to articulate convincingly how why our clients shouldn't be working in this flawed fashion. And then we'd see these products continue to ship and fail. But what's worse is I didn't know how to articulate to our own teams why we weren't being trusted to build in a fashion where we could be part of the discovery, part of figuring out what to build. That all changed when I discovered Marty's blog at Silicon Valley Product Group at svpg.com. Marty has a way of articulating how great product teams can build better in simple language, in language that's accessible no matter your discipline, no matter your level in an organization. And at Connected, we are forever grateful for that, Marty. We have a lot of thanks to give to our early formative alma mater, Extreme Labs, Pivotal Labs. I also attribute a lot of our success to great product thinkers like Marty. Again, the way that Marty helped us think about how to just talk about this problem space has shaped so much of our company, from our vision, our values, to how we work day to day. So thank you again, Marty, for that. About 3 or 4 months ago, I was at an event at the Product Leaders Summit hosted by Spiro Ventures. I highly recommend you all go to that next year. That's where I first saw Marty speak. As a founder, I did the natural thing that you do when you see one of your heroes. Right after his talk, I ran up to him and I cornered him in kind of like a door frame. I said everything I just told you, but like out of breath and in like 35 seconds, and asked him if he would speak at our event. So here we are. It's my great pleasure to be able to introduce Marty Cagan, founder of Silicon Valley Product Group, to speak today on the topic of Beyond Lean and Agile. And then right after that talk, my co-founder Damien McCabe will host a fireside and we'll continue to drink and chat. So without further ado, give it up for Marty Cagan.